Marcus Reed didn't just play basketball. He moved through the court like he had something to prove to God himself. Every drive to the rim, every crossover, every no-look pass had that raw, restless energy of someone who grew up needing to be seen. And at first, everyone did see him. Back in 2013, the Milwaukee Bucks took a chance on two long shots in the same draft. One was a wiry teenager from Greece named Giannis Antetokounmpo. The other was Marcus, a fiery 6'5" shooting guard from Baltimore, raised by his grandmother in a two-bedroom apartment 3 floors up from a laundromat that never closed. Marcus came into the league like a storm. Trash talk, fast breaks, flashy dunks. He was a walking highlight reel with a grin that said he already knew. Reporters loved him. Teammates loved him. Fans, they couldn't get enough. He and Giannis clicked instantly. Different styles, different backgrounds, but the chemistry was undeniable. One built like a myth in the making, the other pure instinct and street-bred flair. The local press called them thunder and lightning. Giannis brought the force, Marcus brought the fire. For 2 seasons, Milwaukee dared to dream, but behind the smile, the bravado, something was cracking. Marcus had always played angry, not just competitive, but volatile. He'd stare down opponents after a dunk, curse out refs, disappear after games. Giannis would try to reel him in. They had long talks after practices, sometimes in the parking lot, Marcus pacing with headphones on, Giannis leaning against his car with arms folded. "Control the fire," he'd say in his soft, deliberate English. Marcus would nod, promise, then do it all again next game. By his 3rd season, the warning signs became impossible to ignore. Minor injuries started piling up. First a strained hamstring, then a lingering shoulder issue. He sat more games than he played. When he did show up, he was late, irritable, sometimes visibly hungover. The Bucks coaching staff grew frustrated. Privately, so did Giannis. He still had Marcus's back in public, but the silences between them stretched longer. One day, after a particularly rough game, Marcus shouted at an assistant coach mid-timeout. Cameras caught it. That clip ran on loop for 48 hours. A month later, he was traded to Sacramento. In public, he said all the right things. Fresh start, new energy, ready to prove himself. But behind closed doors, it was clear. Something had shifted. Sacramento was not Milwaukee. There was no Giannis, no built-in trust, no brotherhood. Just a broken team and a city that didn't care much about his name. Injuries turned into missed practices. Missed practices turned into DNPs. Rumors started flying. Drugs, bad influences, a bar fight that made local headlines but never got confirmed. His game vanished. The explosion off the dribble, the rhythm, the confidence, gone. He looked tired, slow, confused, and worst of all, like he didn't care. By 2017, he was unsigned. No team wanted him, not even overseas. Just 4 years after being drafted, Marcus Reed was out of the league. He tried to claw back. Videos surfaced of him training in empty gyms, shirt soaked in sweat, shooting 3 after 3 with headphones on. No coaches, no teammates, just a man trying to remember who he used to be. But the NBA had already moved on. New rookies, new faces, new hype. Marcus faded out of headlines, then out of memory. In 2019, a grainy photo popped up on social media. Marcus, bloated, hunched, walking into a convenience store in Chicago, hood pulled low, face unshaven. People didn't believe it was him at first. Then someone zoomed in. The tattoo on his forearm, the same one from his rookie season, grit first. That post went viral. He became a punchline. Reddit threads, tweets, memes, all variations of from NBA to NBDL to nowhere. No one knew where he lived. Some said he moved back to Baltimore. Others said he was bouncing between Airbnbs. A rumor circulated that he was seen sleeping in a rented car parked near the south side of Chicago. No one could confirm it. No one really tried. Giannis never spoke about him publicly. But people remembered their bond. The alley-oops, the post-game hugs, the long interviews where Marcus would call Giannis the realest dude I ever met. Now, years later, that realest dude was on top of the world. 2-time MVP, global icon, NBA champion, while Marcus was invisible. There was no press release, No retirement announcement. Just silence. And in that silence, Marcus drifted. The money was gone, burned on hotel rooms, bad investments, and what friends later called pharmaceutical vacations. He picked up odd jobs, loading docks, warehouse work, janitorial shifts. Nothing stuck, nothing healed. He'd show up for 3 days, then disappear. His phone numbers kept changing. His name, too, sometimes Marcus, sometimes MJ, sometimes just Reed. At his lowest, he spent 3 nights sleeping in the back seat of a Dodge rental. It smelled like old fries and rain. His shoes, the same custom pair he wore in his last NBA game, sat beside him, laces undone. That night he stared at the roof of the car and whispered something no one heard. No fans, no cameras, no teammates, just a man and the echo of everything he lost. And in that darkness, Marcus sent one last message, 3 words, no punctuation, no explanation. I need help. It went to an old number he wasn't sure still worked. He didn't expect a response. He just wanted the universe to know he was still here, still breathing, barely. He turned the screen off, threw the phone in the passenger seat, and closed his eyes. There's a moment, invisible, quiet, but unmistakable, when a person crosses the line between surviving and disappearing. For Marcus Reed, that moment didn't come with an arrest or a headline. It came one morning in early spring, in the cramped back room of a fast food kitchen, when he realized no one in that building, no one in that city, knew who he used to be. He stood over a sink full of cloudy water, scrubbing grease off plastic trays, his fingers raw and trembling from the cold. No cameras, no fans, no cheers, just the beep of a fryer and the faint stench of sweat and fryer oil soaked into his uniform. He didn't think about basketball anymore, not because he didn't miss it. He did, achingly, but because remembering hurt more than forgetting. Memories came in flashes. A 3-point shot at the buzzer, the sound of the crowd rising as he turned to celebrate, the weight of Giannis's arms slung over his shoulder after a win. Then the flashes dimmed, flickered, disappeared into static. He lived in a cycle. Shelter. Couch. Shelter. Car. Some nights, a friend would let him stay over. Other nights, he'd wait until the gym at a local community center closed, then sneak into the locker room and curl up on a bench, using a hoodie as a pillow. He carried a small duffel bag, a pair of sneakers, 2 shirts, a charger, and a photo folded so many times it had split down the middle. It showed him and Giannis after their first playoff win, both smiling, drenched in Gatorade, arms raised like brothers in arms. He never showed that photo to anyone, just unfolded it sometimes when the silence got too loud. The drugs came and went, Percocet mostly, sometimes mixed with alcohol. It started with pain management when he was still in the league. After that, it became management for something else, something hollow and gnawing. Rehab was part of the rhythm too. 3 stints, each shorter than the last. The first time he promised to clean up. The second time, he didn't make promises at all. The third time, he checked out after 6 days, walked straight across the street, and bought a bottle of whiskey with quarters he'd collected from bus station vending machines. Every few months, someone would recognize him. A kid with a phone, a security guard, a basketball fan who blinked twice, unsure. Hey, are you Marcus Reed? And each time, his answer got shorter. Not anymore. He said it like a joke. No one laughed. He tried calling old teammates once. Not many, just the ones he thought might still care. A voicemail to his former point guard. Yo, it's Reed, I'm good, just wanted to connect. No reply. A DM to an assistant coach. If you hear about any overseas spots, hit me. Left on scene. A message to a former trainer. Just checking in. Silence. The final number he tried was Giannis's. He'd saved it years ago under G. He hadn't used it in forever. Didn't even know if it still worked. He stared at the contact for half an hour before typing the message. No fluff, no begging, just 3 words. Sorry, I'm drowning. He waited. 10 minutes, then 20, then an hour. Nothing. He deleted the message thread, blocked the number, like that would make the silence feel like a choice. Weeks passed, Marcus got a job washing dishes at a small Greek restaurant on the west side of Chicago. The owner paid cash, no questions asked. The place smelled of lemon and garlic and cheap red wine. The manager was a thin, tired man who never smiled. Marcus kept to himself. Came in, scrubbed dishes, kept his head down. At night, he'd walk 2 miles to the shelter that still had a bed with his name on it. One night, while scrubbing a pan, his hand slipped and sliced open his palm. Blood mixed with soap. He didn't tell anyone, just wrapped it in a napkin and kept going. Then, one Wednesday afternoon, while stacking trays behind the kitchen, Marcus heard the soft jingle of the front doorbell. Nothing unusual. Customers came in all the time, but something made him glance through the narrow service window. Just a quick peek. What he saw froze him. Standing there in the entryway wearing a grey hoodie and black sweatpants was a face he hadn't seen in 4 years. Taller than he remembered, broader, calm, and unmistakably real. Giannis. Marcus backed away from the window, heart hammering. He thought he was hallucinating. He ducked into the hallway, pressed his back against the wall. What the hell was happening? He wiped his hands on his apron. They were shaking. Then the kitchen door creaked open. The manager walked in, looking confused. "There's some guy asking for you. Says his name is Giannis, something like that?" Marcus didn't speak, just walked past him, out into the dining area. There he was, Giannis standing by the counter, looking around like he didn't want to draw attention. When he saw Marcus, he didn't smile, just gave a nod. A quiet, familiar nod. Marcus stopped a few feet away. His throat closed. He felt his eyes sting. His voice came out small. "You serious?" Giannis stepped forward. "I got your message. I deleted it. I didn't." There was a pause, long, heavy. Then Giannis reached into his bag and pulled out a pair of sneakers, fresh, new, Marcus's size. "Let's go somewhere quiet," he said. They sat in Giannis's rental car parked around the corner. No press, no entourage, just the two of them. Marcus told him everything, not the edited version, the real one, the pills, the nights he didn't want to wake up, the guilt, the shame, the anger. Giannis listened. He didn't judge. He didn't interrupt. When Marcus finished, Giannis leaned forward, hands folded. "I didn't come here because of who you were," he said. "I came because of who you still are." The next day, Giannis checked Marcus into a rehab center. A better one, private, clean, no press access. He paid the first 3 months up front. He left a therapist's contact, a personal trainer's number, and a note folded into Marcus's bag. It said, "When you're ready, call me." He didn't stay long, just 3 days. Long enough to make sure Marcus was safe. Long enough to show he meant it. When he left, Marcus stood at the entrance and watched the car drive off. No words, just a slow, solemn wave. That night, for the first time in years, Marcus slept 8 hours straight. And when he woke up, he did something he hadn't done in longer than he could remember. He asked for a basketball. Rebuilding isn't dramatic. It's not a montage, not set to music, not bathed in golden light. It's early mornings where nothing feels different, meetings where you say the same words you said last time, and small ugly victories that no one sees but you. That's where Marcus Reed found himself, not rising, not falling, just waking up each day and deciding again not to quit. The rehab facility was clean, quiet, and far from the noise of the city. No NBA logos, no pictures of his past. Just a room, a counselor, and the same question every morning. "Are you ready to be honest today?" Marcus had to relearn everything, not just how to shoot a basketball, but how to be still, how to feel shame without letting it rot him, how to remember without drowning in memory. The therapist Giannis had found for him didn't pull punches. She asked about his father, about the anger, about what it felt like when the league moved on without him. Marcus didn't have answers at first, but he kept showing up. Bit by bit, the mask came off. Physically, the changes came slower. His body had aged more than it should have. Years of abuse and neglect had dulled the reflexes that once made him electric. But the trainer Giannis hired met him halfway. No false hope, no pressure, just discipline, stretch, hydrate, lift, sleep, repeat. For weeks, Marcus didn't even touch a basketball. His hands shook from withdrawal. His knees cracked like old wood. But he showed up. And that was enough, for now. The phone stayed silent most days, except for one contact, G. Giannis didn't flood him with messages. He knew better. But every few days, a note would come. Simple. Intentional. Still proud of you. You're more than the jersey. Today is enough. Sometimes Marcus would reply. Sometimes he'd just stare at the screen. But those words stayed with him. In the silence between therapy sessions. In the echo of the gym at night, when he finally started shooting again. He missed a lot at first. Airballs, clanks. He laughed to himself once, a broken, unfamiliar laugh, and muttered, "Guess that's what rock bottom does to your jumper." But the ball started falling again. His form came back in pieces. He spent hours alone working on the basics, dribble, pivot, pass. He watched old footage of himself, not for glory but for memory, to remember that he once knew how to move. He didn't imagine the NBA anymore. That door was shut. And maybe that was okay. Maybe redemption wasn't about getting back. Maybe it was about going forward, even if the path was unrecognizable. 6 months into recovery, he took a call from a small-time coach who ran a semi-pro league in Indiana. The guy had heard a rumor that Marcus Reed was training again. No promises, no pay, just an open slot on a trial roster. Marcus hesitated, then packed a bag. The first game back was a disaster. He was slow, out of sync, winded after 5 minutes. He missed open looks, turned the ball over. After the game, he sat in the locker room, drenched in sweat, staring at the floor. No one asked him for an autograph. No one even said much. Just quiet, tired nods from guys trying to make rent. But he showed up again the next day, and the next. By the third game, he'd found a rhythm. A quiet one. Nothing flashy. Just smart passes, strong cuts, good decisions. His stat lines were humble. 12 points, 6 assists, 2 steals. But the impact was real. Coaches noticed. Teammates started looking to him for guidance. He wasn't a star anymore. He was something else. Steady. Present. A few months later, a small article ran in a local paper. Former NBA player Marcus Reed finds new role in community league. It didn't go viral, but Giannis saw it. He texted one word, "Told you." Marcus started coaching part-time at a youth center nearby. Not because someone asked, but because he needed to. Needed to see the game in eyes that still believed in it. He'd watch kids run drills with the kind of wild joy he'd once had. And slowly, without trying, something shifted inside him. For years, he'd thought of his career as a closed door, something he failed. But now he saw it as something he survived. He began speaking at high schools, not about points or fame, but about what happens when the cheers stop. He talked about addiction, about ego, about regret. Kids listened, really listened. He wasn't a cautionary tale. He was a living reminder that falling doesn't mean you're finished. One night, after a small charity tournament, Marcus stayed late to help clean up, folding chairs, wiping down the court. He was the last one out. As he locked the gym, his phone buzzed. A message from Giannis. "I'm in town. You around?" Marcus smiled, texted back, "Always." They met at the same court where the tournament had just wrapped. The place was empty, just echo and dust. Giannis walked in wearing a hoodie like old times. No entourage, no cameras. They sat on the bleachers, both looking older, quieter, but full of something hard-earned. Marcus reached into his bag and pulled out the photo, the one from all those years ago, the one he had folded and carried through hell. He handed it to Giannis. "Still got this," he said. Giannis studied it, then smiled. "You look so young." "So do you." They laughed, the kind of laugh only shared by people who'd seen each other at their lowest. Marcus nodded toward the court. "One-on-one?" Giannis raised an eyebrow. "You sure you're ready for that smoke?" Marcus grinned. "You might be MVP, but I'm still the better trash talker." They played for hours. No score, no crowd. Just two men reconnecting with the game that built them, broke them, and somehow brought them back to each other. A few months later, Marcus launched a non-profit, Second Chance Hoops, a foundation for athletes in transition. Not just from pro to post-career, but from addiction, from injury, from isolation. The mission was simple. No one should have to fall alone. Giannis spoke at the opening event. The gym was packed with kids, coaches, and community leaders. Marcus stood at the podium, nervous but clear-eyed. "I lost everything," he told them. "Not just the money or the career, I lost myself. But someone showed up, not to save me, just to stand beside me while I learned how to stand again. That's what we're doing here." He looked at Giannis, who nodded silently from the front row. That night, after the crowd left, Marcus and Giannis sat together on the edge of the court. Lights dimmed, echoes fading. Two men who had nothing to prove and everything to remember. Marcus looked up at the ceiling, then down at the court, then at his friend. "You know, I thought my story ended in that car," he said quietly. Giannis shook his head. "Nah, that was just halftime." The gym fell silent again, and for once, silence didn't feel like absence. It felt like peace.